Alright guys, welcome back. The saga continues on the marketplace Gatortail. Where we left off, we did a valve adjustment. We went and ran it, thought we blew it up. We did not. We pinched a hose and it shot the dipstick out. You'll get that on them big jobs. But I sold this stage 2 and we have no reason to believe that it isn't. It for sure has a cam. It had shimmed valve springs, had a Mikuni carb and an exhaust. So today we're going to do a deep dive into the heads. John with Estes Performance is going to work his magic, and we're really going to see what all has been done to this. But at the end of the day, John is going to put some MLS gaskets in it, some upgraded valve springs, some upgraded valves, and we're going to go from there. Well, we've already started. John's pulled the head off. Can get her running. Alright, so we've got the head pulled off and we're kind of just figuring out what's actually here. We had some, they're not stock gaskets, but John tells me that they are aftermarket. They got this little ring right here, but we actually found that the valves that were in it are some aftermarket valves, which is good. The stock springs were shimmed, which I covered in that last video, but really it doesn't look bad. All we're really doing here, or what John's doing, is he's putting some MLS gaskets in. He's gonna do a valve job, get these things sealing real good, and we're gonna get her tuned up real nice, maybe some porting. But I don't know, what do you think, dude?
We'll make it run.
We're finding good things. That's, you know, can't complain about that. Usually it's the other way around. We find some half-assed stuff, but find some good things. So, all right, just real quick, we did find some good things on the heads. Aftermarket valves. It had stock springs that were shimmed with stock rockers and aftermarket push rods. John upgraded the springs, went to new springs and seats, kept the same valves but lapped the valves after doing a 5-angle valve job, and the heads were already ported and shaved, as well as upgrading to MLS gaskets. So everything's good there. He also welded in between the rocker bosses, so the heads are good. So that's what we found. So we're gonna move forward from there. You ready? Yep. Damn it, boy. Oh yeah.
Spot on.
She's even.
200 psi on both cylinders. That's healthy.
175 to 200. A little thinner head gaskets. Good valve job. That honestly, that probably helped a good bit too. Valve job, lapping the valves. Oh yeah, she's gonna run good. John's guess was what was it, 185?
185, 190.
And I guessed 190, but we did Price is Right rules, so we both lost. So, well, we're still winning. 200 psi compression.
Yeah, she should run good now.
She's gonna run good. May not like this cold weather too much, but she'll be popping and banging, that's for sure. All right, we have the boat hooked back up. We park and brake. Got the boat hooked back up, and we're going to go test. Let's just hope that it was better than our first test when I first bought this Gatortail. But John did his magic on the heads. We actually found some good things in the heads. You know, more was done than we had thought. There just wasn't a whole lot known about this motor when we had bought it, and you know, that's just how it is when you're buying stuff off of Marketplace. But we're gonna go run it and see what she does. But right now she gained about 15 psi, 20 psi compression. She's definitely a little hotter than she was before. There's some other things that, now that we're running a little hotter than anticipated, that we're gonna look at doing, like roller rockers and rods. That'll be later. We just need to run it, and I need a boat for duck season, so we're gonna see what happens. So we're on the water. It's a little windy out today, so snuck back in this cove. Engine's running good. I'll run it here in a second. But what we're also doing is messing with this trim pin, trying to get this nose to just quit plowing. Still happening. So I brought my waders with me, and we'll hop out and swap the pin. But we'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm staked off with my little spud pole. Also, it's hard to see, but I did get a new prop. No more borrowed props. It's got a 10-pinch marine power, but as you can see, I got one of the little quick pins. This is where we were running, and it is getting better. I went down some more, so I'm gonna go down one more and see what happens. I do not have my little tripod stand with me today, so there's nothing interesting about pulling a quick pin. Honestly, you're just gonna see me fumbling around with it, probably drop something, and I'd rather that not be on video. But otherwise, she's running pretty good. So those that are unfamiliar with these holes, this is an older Express. It is not the DB, it is a Bayou. But what I noticed, especially when I had a regular outboard on it, I noticed that the transom angle is a lot different than, well, any other hole that I've messed with. And while I was over at John's house, he had it parked next to a Havoc, and I think there was also a Gatortail there too. And their transom angles, I didn't measure them, but they're a lot more than what this one is. So I think that's what I'm fighting right now. The height of the transom with the transom angle that it currently has. That's why I have to go on this last hole. I hope it works. We're gonna find out. If not, we're gonna be moving that fuel tank, which will definitely help move it back, or just get rid of it. It's a 16-gallon fuel tank. I don't need a 16-gallon fuel tank. I'll even cut these rod boxes out. I don't care. I'm just tired of this thing plowing. It's doing good, but it's slowing me down. So let's go run it and see what happens. All right. Aside from me not knowing how to run a mud motor with a dam, I'm going to set the phone down and play around with it. But it's so far it's way better. Way better. Running healthy. Okay, so we are back at the house. Water testing didn't exactly go as planned. The motor runs great, like it runs. No problem getting out of the hole. Spins this this new prop. Ended up with a marine power. Spins it, no issue, but we're running into setup issues. And you know, we played with the trim pin a little bit, and after talking about it with you know, a couple different people and doing a little more research, I think I'm going about it the wrong way. I was dropping, let's see here, never mind this raggedy crap, but so I was dropping my pin. So I'd originally started here when I was running with a stock prop and it was still plowing. I went to here with the marine power. I have not tried this with the marine power. And now I went all the way to the bottom. I felt like it was improving a little bit, but I don't think dropping the motor is the solution right now. I think I need to go back to here, start here, and then maybe try this top hole, because, and I forgot about this when I originally bought this boat and was setting up the Yamaha 70 on it. I was measuring the transom, And I noticed the transom angle was not only different than a lot of other boats, but the height. Plumb from here to even with the bottom of the hole with a straight edge is like 19.5 inches. And from what I know, or at least what I've read, I haven't found it on Gatortail's website or anything, but supposedly 21 to 21.5 inches motor height is the sweet spot. Now what I need to do, I need to go back over to John's. He's got Gatortails, Pro Drive. Well, I don't need to measure a Pro Drive, but he's got Gatortail holes sitting over there, and he's got some Havoc holes. And I should have done it while I was over there because we were talking about it, but either the trim pin going all the way up will, you know, fix this issue, maybe, or at least make it a little better, or and I have read that people do this, they'll shim the motor up. And if I'm sitting at 19.5 here and I'm supposed to be at 21.5, that means I need to put a pretty sizable block. I don't know if I'll be able to go a full 2 inches, but I'll still be able to come up some. That way we can get this thing set up right, because right now 30 mile an hour pushing, you know, everything this thing's got, and this thing is just plowing like crazy. So and we have some other issues. I mean, got a fuel tank in the front, you know, heavy speakers, rod boxes, all that. You know, I got the boat blind on. That shouldn't be too much weight. I don't have anything in the front hatch, but I think we'll try this first before I go hacking up there. We'll start moving the trim pin up, and if I got to, I'll make some blocks and get this thing up a little bit and try it. You know, I know this is bolted right here, but if we can get it up, you know, at least another inch and a half, I think we'll be doing a lot better, because this motor should be doing a lot more, or at least pushing this hole a lot more. It's got the horsepower. It's fighting setup right now. So we'll see. All right, so just a quick overview of what we actually found on this motor, from top to bottom. You know, John's already done his work on it. I'll cover that in a minute. But this was sold to me as a stage 2. The previous owner, you know, wasn't the one that built it, but you know, it ran good. It had some chop, so you know, we didn't have any reason to think that it wasn't. When we first got it, did a compression check on it, got 175 on each cylinder, so you know, it had some compression on it. You know, it's got the Mikuni carb. We could tell it had a nice little lope to it, so we assumed it had a cam in it. Well, when we pulled it apart, or when John pulled it apart, he noticed that it already had some aftermarket valves. It had some valve spring shims, and it also had some upgraded push rods, which are all, you know, those are good things. Those are good things to find, especially you know, these days. You know, you find some built motors with you know, practically nothing under the heads. But so we had stock springs with shims, aftermarket valves. We think the heads were milled about 50 thousandths, just based off of what we could measure. And then John went through, he put thinner MLS gaskets on the heads. He kept the valves that were in it because they're good valves. He lapped the valves. He put some upgraded springs. Kept the push rods. Push rods were good. And she went from about 175 on compression to 200. It's Christmas. But about 200 psi on compression. So she is a a hot motor, and she runs good. But you know, we found some interesting things, some good things, some not so good things. Just, you know, it's a used motor, it's an old motor, it's likely been installed, finding a lot of stuff that, you know, bolts that are seized up, hard to get out, fighting stuff like that, just little things here and there. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown on everything that we found. And she was a runner before, honestly. There's nothing wrong with it before, other than a couple of carb adjustments. But it's a runner now, so we'll see what happens. Well, back on the water, and we're going back to about crouching down in the water. So we're gonna go back and try this hole. We'll see what happens. I did just try this top hole, and it wasn't all that great. We only got about 27, 28 mile an hour and still plowing. I don't know what to do at this point other than, of course, remove some weight, which actually involves getting a new fuel tank, because that thing's just massive, and cutting rod boxes out. But also, this transom just ain't set up right, even though it is the Express Bayou. I'm not the only one having issues with these Bayou transoms, at least the older ones. I don't know about the newer ones. I don't know anyone that has a newer one, but I've talked to a handful of people that have, you know, this 11 to 14-ish Bayou Expresses, and you know, they're struggling like I am too, because this motor is making all the horsepower it needs to push this thing well into the 30s, and she's just plowing all the way to the front. I mean, she's spraying all the way up to the front. So, and I don't know if everybody's seen my previous videos. If you go back a little bit, I have addressed a hook in the boat, hence the giant hole. But yeah, it's doing 28, 29 mile an hour with, you know, half a tank of fuel or less, and, you know, me and my tools and really nothing else. I have had another person in here and it really had no effect, but we're gonna go try it on this original hole we tried it on with a stock CA, well, I say stock, it's just a CA57 prop, but now we got this marine power. I don't know, we're just gonna roll with it for now. I'm not gonna start chopping transoms or chopping too much out of the boat in the middle of duck season, even though we're in a freaking t-shirt down here in Texas. It's 80 degrees today. You know, that's duck hunting in Texas, middle of December, and it's 80 degrees outside. Water feels really nice. I'm barefoot in the water right now. It's nice and sandy, but yeah, well, it is what it is at this point. I'm gonna get a little more video of riding around, and then after that, duck hunting, I guess. I've already been a couple of times this season. I have not gone with my own boat, and it's the whole purpose of this. I got rid of that 70, that Yamaha F70, so that I could go more places, have more access, especially on years like this where there's not a lot of water. Go to the Trinity River a lot, all up and down there. There's a lot of areas in there I couldn't get with the outboard, whether I had a jack plate and a kick plate on it or not. Same with my old boat. I had a 20-foot Express with a tunnel. It'd go a lot of places, but there's, you know, hunting rivers, there's a lot of debris, there's a lot of trees. Need something with a kick plate, and it was just too big for me to handle on my own. But we'll go for a spin, and maybe we can squeeze a little more speed out of it. I don't know, but if it don't really change anything, I'm not messing with it no more. We're just gonna deal with it, hunt with it, and get mad at it after season. today's video. Not exactly how I wanted it to go, but boat runs really good. Well, the motor runs really good. The boat runs like crap. I don't know what I'm gonna do on that one yet. We'll probably start by pulling the fuel tank, throwing a little fuel tank in the back, and I don't really feel like cutting the rod lockers out, but I don't really use them. So may do that, just do a little bit of weight savings, but we're gonna go back over to a buddy of mine's house, measure a couple of different transoms, and see where mine stacks up. I got some measurements over the phone, and I'm thinking that my transom is just too short. The angle's off and the transom's short, so it's kind of funky. The express transoms, there's not that much angle, which as long as I get it high enough, you know, I should be able to still run just fine. I just won't be able to dig down as deep without dropping the pin, but I don't know, we'll see. We may block up on top of the transom and try and get the motor higher, but we'll take some measurements first and see how that goes. But for now, thanks for watching.